Hey guys, I'm Connor with Aaron's Gun Cabinet.
And I'm Zach of Aaron's Gun Cabinet.
And today we're talking gun belts. Alright guys, let's get into some belt setups. Here is my personal belt setup. This is a Blue Alpha 2-piece gun belt setup here in multicam. As you can see, I've got a 40-degree angled pistol mag pouch from S-Tac on the front right there, and then followed up by a straight up and down S-Tac mag pouch for a Glock mag as well, followed by a single rifle mag, also from S-Tac. These three were kind of the first things that I put on there. The angled one helps if I have a fanny pack in front of me. It doesn't get in the way of any movement, anything with that first mag there. Also, it gives me the ability to still squat down, lunge, things of that nature. Back behind this quick rifle mag here is a Safariland 2 Mag Pouch. Got a couple more P mags in there. Brings me up to 3 rifle mags and 2 pistol mags on the belt that are not attached to a gun. Moving back from there is this S-Tac dump pouch. Everybody's got something to say about dump pouches. They have a really specific purpose, which is holding trash for about 5 seconds. So I've got one set up there. And then not a lot going on the back right here, as you can see. If I'm holding any sort of gun, you know, if I'm working with a handgun, working with a rifle, I'm not really going to have a lot of time or a free right hand, being a right-handed shooter, to get to anything back here. But helpful things if you've got a small GP kind of pouch there that you need to hold something in when you're not having a gun on you, that's great for that. You know, night vision is one that comes to the top of my mind. Just don't own nods yet, so they aren't on my belt. Moving over to the right side, got a Safariland 6354DO holster. I don't need to say anything about Safariland that hadn't already been said. There's gold standard for retention holsters, have been for some time now. Going forward to that is a Soil Eater V2 tourniquet holder pouch. I've got a tourniquet and a Sharpie in there. I chose to have the Sharpie facing up just because I feel like it kind of gives me a little bit more mobility. If I'm squatting down or lunging, like I've said, I don't feel like I'm going to pop it, and I don't want a Sharpie exploding all over my pants. These have a really sturdy Cobra buckle on there. I've had this belt for, oh gosh, over a year and a half, getting on 2 years with this belt, and never had any issues with the Cobra buckle locking up or not being able to break it free whenever I need to. So that's my belt setup, relatively simple. I've shot competitions with this thing, USPSA competitions, works fine. I mean, obviously the level 2 duty holster is a little redundant for that. It slows you down a little bit, but you know, I'm not winning money at competitions anyway. Who am I kidding? It helps out a lot having these little quick pistol mag pouches there. I highly recommend these from S-Tac. They're affordable. They do everything you need. Easy to put on. You really don't have enough good things to say about them, as well as the rifle pouch. Okay, so I'm going to show you how I usually put this belt on. I've got this inner liner belt from Blue Alpha here. As you can also see, I don't have any belt loops on the shorts that I'm wearing today. That does not matter with these, and that's actually why I keep this belt around. So you just throw it over you. Make sure you get the waistband of the shorts in there. And I never really do it too tight. I just kind of do about 2 inches, maybe 3 inches of overlap there to where the hook and loop is really set on there. Then I'm going to take my belt. What I like to do is I grab kind of over the gun and the holster here, because this is what I want to put on first. This is going to be my index point for the handgun, and I don't want to lose track of that at any point in time. So what I like to do, I'll even grab it behind me like that. I will put the holster portion of the hook and loop kind of right on the seam of my pants right there. I've tried moving it forward. A lot of people will suggest that. It just really didn't work for me necessarily. So then you bring it all the way over. I kind of like to check, make sure I'm not completely off of the Velcro at any point. And then go ahead and click that in. Make sure everything's kind of set. do some last minute checks, make sure you're not missing any portions of the Velcro that's going to reach out and get stuck on something, you know, brush, whatever other clothing you might have. And then I've got a gun belt on. So since I don't have belt loops on these shorts, it will kind of shift a little more left to right than it would if you had a pair of pants with belt loops on them. All I'm doing to mitigate that is kind of checking the gear, making sure it's indexed properly and it's not misaligned. And also, y'all, if you notice, I do not have any sort of drop leg attachments on either side of my belt. Everything is kind of in line with the seams here as far as the pistol holster and the single rifle mag pouch there. That goes down to personal preference and also kind of how your body is built. I have a longer torso, so if I have a plate carrier or a chest rig on while I'm wearing this belt setup, these on my left and right are not going to get in the way of a cummerbund or any other piece of gear that's going to affect me moving laterally. So that's just something to take in consideration, especially if you're a short king out there. You might want to take a page out of Zach's book and what he's going to show you in a minute.
All right, guys. So I'm Zach, and over here I'm going to talk about my battle belt and what I got on it and kind of some theory on why I put things together like this. So what I'm running is a Axle Eclipse belt. Really cool two-piece belt system here using this Tigris. So if you look very closely, there's going to be that carbon fiber looking material. That's that Tigris there to give it a lot of structure. The reason I need structure is because as a smaller person, holding everything up, if I don't have structure, it'll start digging into my hips on the sides and on the front, and that'll cause a lot of discomfort for me. Also, you're going to see my design here is, since I'm a shorter person, I have a shorter torso, so I need to drop things down. And what you're going to find is I don't have anything more than about an inch above the belt itself. So my rifle mag is lower than the top of the belt. Even if I'm running a 40, it won't go any more than about an inch. And then my pistol is also running lower than the belt. Alright, so starting from the front, we're going to see that this Eclipse belt features a mini Cobra buckle, a 1-inch buckle that's load rated. The rest of the belt is not load rated to my understanding of it, so unless Axle has some testing done, don't trust this to hold your body weight, okay? Next up, we're going to go over to the pistol mag pouches. These pistol mag pouches are both from Haley Strategic, so they feature a rubbery texture on the inside to keep the tension on the magazine pouch. And if that magazine is metal, it will sound kind of weird, so there's a short breaking period with it. After that, we're going to start panning over to what I have on the far left side. We're going to have the rifle mag pouch drop down on a Haley Strategic mag pouch right here. And we also have this Shaw Concepts dropper to facilitate that. So this Shaw Concepts product, I highly recommend it. Solves a huge problem, especially for Marines in the Fleet Marine Force. Whenever we're wearing plate carriers and stuff, we're going to see that since I have a smaller torso, if I was to bend over to the left laterally like Connor was talking about, then I'm going to have a huge issue with my side plates running into my magazine pouch. If I had this product in the military, that would solve a lot of issues, but instead what I had to do while I was in the Marine Corps was attach my pistol mag pouches to my plate carrier, which could be an issue for some people, especially depending on what you're running. Now after that, we're going to get around. We're going to see that I have a Wilder tactical strap on the bottom of that Shaw Concepts dropper to hold it in place. And that dropper is held also in place itself to the belt with Velcro back here, which doesn't provide the best security in my opinion, but just enough, and especially when it's sandwiched between the inner belt that this requires, it's going to hold it in place perfectly fine. Now I got a small row of Molly here that I might be able to attach a dump pouch on later, but instead I'm going to have this med pouch on the far end in the back, and this is going to hold all of my IFAK supplies. So that individual first aid kit or IFAK is organized here with what you see is the tourniquet on the bottom, and that's attached to this Army insert. That's the gray part right there. And also it's attached by a carabiner to the bottom of it, so that way if this med pouch opens up and I pull that insert out, it will not completely come off my body and be lost if I start getting dragged away. So I highly recommend that, and these LBT pouches can come pretty cheap if you find them at the right spots, okay? Now we're going to get into this dead space right here. Kind of like Connor. Connor is a lot bigger guy, so he's a lot more of a waist to work around. We have a shorter circumference here though, so I can probably fit a multi-tool or maybe another dump pouch back there if I want to. So that's going to be the next addition to this belt. And then on the far right, on my 3 o'clock, I have my pistol. This is a Glock 19 in a Safariland holster. Just like Connor's, not much to be said about it, but it offers some really good retention. So as I pull this out, it'll retain off of the light. That way it won't come out after that. Similar concept I used while I was in the Marine Corps, so I really like this system. I have a lot of time behind this nubbin kind of system right there. That is going to be a True North Concepts MHA, and what that does is it is a modular holster attachment point. Has a lot of holds on the side, so if we can see on the back side right here, there's a lot of different adjustability points. But for me personally, I would say the Safariland will do just enough. So if you want to use the Safariland dropper, I would recommend that to sub out this product. This is about $80, and then the leg attachment itself is about $20 or $30. So this is a pretty expensive bundle. But if you want the more adjustability, kind of like what I had in mind when I bought it, then I would recommend that product. We also have another strap holding that in place. So now I have 2 straps left and right. I have Velcro retaining it to my inner belt that I have on. And then with that, the structure, it provides a really stable, comfortable platform that won't shift around whenever I'm moving. Lastly, we got this Soil Eater tourniquet holster, and it is the V2, so we have the tourniquet itself encased in this elastic sheath. And then we also have a pin holder, so I got a Sharpie in there to mark tea time and date on the tourniquet itself. So guys, what we got right there is that belt that's designed for those shorter shooters like myself. If you have any questions on that, reach out to us. I'll be able to answer those questions and kind of give you a better idea of how we can use this belt in coordination with your plate carriers if you have any questions. I highly recommend these products to the Marines and those guys that are out in the front lines doing America's work right now, because this solved a lot of problems for me, and I wish I had that when I was still in.
So guys, that about covers it on our personal gun belt setups. There are other options out there other than these 2-piece setups. There's padded belts, which in that case you will almost certainly need a leg strap to kind of help secure that padded belt system. You might see it called a war belt. There's a lot of good brands out there, a lot of bad ones too. So watch out, make sure you do your research, make an informed decision when it comes to gear that could possibly save your life or that of someone else's. Guys, that's about it for us today. Always remember to stay mentally, spiritually, and physically prepared.